The night God spoke. I didn't even know his voice, but he called me again and again until I finally said, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." That night changed everything. They said the word of the Lord was rare in those days. No visions, no prophets, no voice, just silence. Israel had grown used to the quiet and to the dark. Eli, my master, was growing old. His eyes, once sharp to see the presence of God, had dimmed. And his sons, they treated the altar like a marketplace. Holiness had become a routine, but the lamp of God had not yet gone out. Every night, I would lie beside the Ark of the Covenant, close enough to feel the warmth of his presence, yet far too young to understand it. Then, I heard a voice calling, "Samuel." I answered, "Here I am." I ran through the corridor quickly. I said to my master Eli, "You called me." Then Eli said, "I did not call, my son. Go, lie down again." I returned to my room, puzzled. I remember my heart pounding. It was so real, that voice. But maybe it was only my mind, only the wind. Then again, the voice calls again, "Samuel." Again I ran, telling my master, "Here I am, for you called me." Eli was confused and half awake. He said, "No, my son. I did not call. Go lie down." I did not yet know the Lord, and his word had not yet been revealed to me. "Samuel!" the voice calls again, this time in urgent. I rise, trembling, running to my master Eli again, and I said, "Here I am, for you called me." Eli responded gently, "My son, it is the Lord. Go, lie down, and if he calls you again, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant hears.'" I lay there, every muscle still, every breath shallow, waiting, hoping, fearing. Then the voice called, "Samuel, Samuel." I respond, "Speak, for your servant hears." Then the world seemed to hold its breath, and the Lord spoke. "Behold, I am about to do a thing in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears it tingle. For I will bring judgment upon Eli's house, for he knew the sins of his sons, yet did not restrain them." My eyes widen. I whispered, "Judgment? On Eli? On the man who raised me?" The voice continued, "The iniquity of his house shall not be atoned for, by sacrifice or offering, forever." I lay until morning, but sleep never came. How could I rest when the Lord had spoken such words? How could I bear them alone? I was afraid to tell him, afraid of what it would mean. In the morning, Eli calls for me. "Samuel, my son, here I am." I replied, "What was it that he told you? Do not hide it from me." For a moment, I hesitated. Then, I told him. He said, "The Lord will bring judgment on your house, that your sons have blasphemed him, and you did not restrain them." A moment of silence. Then Eli exhales deeply. "It is the Lord. Let him do what seems good to him." In that moment, I saw what surrender looked like. Not defeat, but reverence. A man who had walked with God long enough to trust his justice, even when it hurt. And from that day on, the Lord was with me. Every word he spoke, he made sure none of them fell to the ground. Israel began to listen again. The silence was broken. The voice of God had returned. From Dan to Beersheba, they knew God had raised up a prophet, but the people still wandered between fear and faith. Years later, the people gathered at Mizpah. They confessed their sins. They poured out water before the Lord and fasted. They said, "We have sinned against the Lord." And I stood before them, trembling again, not as a boy in the temple, but as a man standing between heaven and a nation. They begged, "Do not cease to cry out to the Lord for us." So I took a lamb, innocent, pure, and offered it to the Lord. I cried out, and he answered. The Lord thundered from heaven. He fought for Israel, and the enemy fled. We pursued them to Bethkar, and the land, long lost, was restored. And I took a stone, set it between Mizpah and Shen, and I called it Ebenezer. Thus far, the Lord has helped us. The Philistines never entered our land again. Peace filled our borders. And I spent the rest of my days judging Israel, speaking his word, and building altars to the Lord, who still speaks. Looking back now, I still hear that first call echoing through time. Samuel, Samuel. And I wonder, how many times has he called your name? But you thought it was just the wind. When God calls, he isn't looking for perfection, just a heart that's willing to listen. So when you hear him whisper your name, don't run to the wrong voices. Say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." Subscribe for more biblical stories brought to life. And tell me in the comments, have you ever heard God's call in the silence?